Good afternoon, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Happy Monday. It's the Monday evening rush hour. Join me. We had a few things to talk about.
Ready to win. Ready to win.
Good afternoon or good evening, folks. I'm Freddie Vasquez. This is Basement Politics Unfiltered. Today I want to talk about several things. Let's discuss bail reform. Anthony Merante and his campaign releasing a video criticizing Mayor Mike Spano in regards to bail reform. And let's check out some of these races that are going on in the county. And what else is happening? Some current events. I want to be positive. Let's talk about positive stuff first, right? Just to let folks know, if you don't know, Halloween event here is going on. It's the village of Merante, but I wanted to share it in case you're out and about. Halloween spooktacular there. And if you didn't know, this past Sunday, the Yonkers Marathon took place. Shout out to the winner, Scotty Mitchell. And there he is with candidate Jose Diaz for county legislator, Board of Legislators, District 17. I had Jose Diaz on the podcast the other day. If you didn't watch the interview, check it out. It was a good interview. Make sure you go to the end. You know, I'm sure you'll appreciate that as well, some of you anyway. Jose Diaz, again, candidate for District 17, going against Jose Alvarado, the incumbent. Folks, I know earlier today I did make a post in regards to a city employee that was drinking and driving. Look, I was sent a picture in regards to this, employee. They had, a shot in their hand while they're behind the wheel. Passenger had a bottle of liquor. Now, the reason why I'm not saying the names and putting the picture out there is because, I want to respect my sources. When I get information from sources and they request certain things of me, I have to respect it. I have to, in order to maintain, that trust with my sources. So it is what it is, but I'm hoping that the individual will get, the message. Say, hey, it's not okay. We've seen too much of this already. Bad things happening with employees drinking and driving. People have gotten away with it, and it has led to others getting involved in bad things, right? And we've recently been talking about the case of C.J. Hackett, where a city employee by the name of Stephen Dolan, after drinking, according to you report, 17 drinks, got into his vehicle with the drink in hand, and unfortunately hit and killed 16-year-old C.J. Hackett. And then he fled the scene. And then not too long after that, I had a picture of another DPW guy going to a bar with the DPW vehicle. So I mentioned this not to create problems, but to say, hey, that's not okay. People's lives are destroyed behind this. So we have to be cognizant of what we're doing, make smart decisions. That's all I'm saying, folks. Then that's why I put it out there. So to the people that were saying, Freddie, why don't you just say it? That's the reason. I have to respect my sources. I have to maintain that trust with my sources. So, but, it is what it is. Mayor Spano out and about also over at the Greenwood, is it? ShopRite over there on Prospect and Riverdale Avenue. There with the folks. And there you are. I guess these are the team of the ShopRite employees. Tasha Diaz, majority leader, councilwoman for the 3rd District. Simmer Brandon there next to the mayor. Obviously, Mayor Mike Spano. Deanna Robinson. She is currently running for council District 1. She does have an opponent. Her opponent is Shatika Parker. And let me know if you can't hear me for whatever reason, folks. She is running. She's currently the aide for Shanae Williams, who represents District 1. And that's Deanna Robinson. So again, if you're just joining me, I'm going to be talking about a few things here. Anthony Merante, video his campaign put out criticizing Mayor Mike Spano. So he's throwing some punches here. But also earlier, again, I put a post up in regards to a city employee who I was sent a picture of a city employee behind the wheel of a vehicle, a car, with a shot in hand, about to take a little shot. This passenger next to this employee had a bottle of liquor, and it's not okay. But the source, who sent it to me, wanted me to do it a certain way, and I have to respect and maintain my source's wishes to maintain that trust, which is why I didn't post the picture, which is why I didn't give more details, specific names. I don't, listen, again, I'm putting it out there. Hopefully this person makes better decisions. And that's what we want. We just want people not to drink and drive, especially city employees. I don't know. Is there a problem? Maybe we need, a AA intervention here for the entire city of Yonkers. All right. That's not okay. James Nolan and Ruth Walters will be battling it out this November for District, 15? And, there was a lot of controversy with this one. Remember when Ruth Walters was being called a racist? There was this gentleman, the son of Reggie Lafayette, the former chairman of the Westchester Democratic Party, apparently got into an incident with Ruth Walters, was calling her a racist, and things got out of hand. Apparently, she had owed him some money. She felt threatened. He said she only felt threatened because he's a black guy. But if you know this guy, I mean, he's not the friendliest looking guy. And I've spoken to him. I've seen him actually at ShopRite here in Yonkers. I believe he also is an employee of the city of Yonkers. How that happened, right? And so, he is not the most friendly looking guy. Not saying he's a bad guy, not saying he's going to do anything. But, I even said this to him. I said, dude, I mean, you don't look the friendliest. You do look a bit intimidating, the gold teeth, right? But I don't want to stereotype. I'm just saying, people will be intimidated by that, especially a woman from Bronxville by the name of Ruth Walters. But anyway, she's again going against James Nolan. She wants to reclaim her seat back. She believes that it was taken from her and she wants it back. And so, Nolan is out there really campaigning. I mean, I see a lot of James Nolan signs all over the place. In fact, I saw a pickup truck today on Saw Mill over there by the DPW place with a Nolan sign. It was parked along the street there with the DPW employee guys. Maybe it was his pickup truck. I don't know, but it had a bunch of Nolan signs on it. Good way to, place to, a lot of traffic there by the warehouses. With less than 45 days before early voting in Westchester, it's time to focus on November 7th elections. All 17 seats on the Westchester County Board of Legislators are up for election. Wow. But only a handful are considered competitive. One BOL contest that elicits strong opinions on both sides of the political aisle is that of the 15th District, East Yonkers, Bronxville, and parts of Eastchester, as well as Mount Vernon. County Legislator James Nolan is running for re-election after serving his first two-year term. In 2021, Nolan defeated legislator Ruth Walters. Walters had returned to the ballot in a rematch that will be the most watched election, a Westchester election, really across the county. We spoke to both Nolan and Walter about the race. I love what I do, and I bring a sensible voice to the district and to all of Westchester. I have fought for many things in the district, and I want to continue my work, said Nolan, who serves as the only Republican on the 17-member Board of Legislators. Legislator Margaret Cunzio is a registered conservative, and together with Nolan, serve as a 2-member BOL minority. We asked Nolan if it is important to have a Republican voice on the county board. Of course it is. We need diversity. Yes, it is. It is important to have another voice and opinion. One-party rule is never a good thing. I try to bring balance and provide both sides of the argument. Nolan said that he wants to continue to support the police and help fund the police and look for ways to reduce crime. I have also been able to push through several capital projects that impact my district. Quality of life issues and keeping Westchester an affordable place to live are also a priority to help constituents with their everyday lives. I have no political agenda. I don't want to do what's best for politics. I do what is best for the people. I'm honest and I work hard for my constituents, not the party, said Nolan. Part of the reason Nolan's victory 2 years ago was his outreach with both the candidate and his team of volunteers knocking on thousands of doors in the district. Nolan says this election will be no different. We are ahead of schedule and our team of volunteers is working hard. We have more union endorsements this year, and now that I have a record to run on, The people know who I am. Nolan also agreed with the view of some of the some that as an incumbent, he now has the political advantage over Walters. 2 years ago, the voters in the district elected me, and I did what I said I was going to do to represent them. I don't see the voters changing their minds 2 years later. Walters had her chance to represent the district, and she is running on a socialist platform that is not in the people's best interest. Her views don't fit with the constituents. She is running on a self-promotion, self-centered platform, and she is after the guy who is a sanitation worker that is addressing the needs of the average person in the district. She is more about politics, while I'm running to defend the police and controlling taxes. Sometimes when people get elected, they stop showing up. Very few people come close to my work ethic, and every day I'm out here working for the people. I have fought hard for the projects that will help my district and Westchester, but I'm not afraid to open my mouth when I disagree. I'm asking the voters not to look at the party, but the person, said Nolan. In addition to his BOL post, works for Yonkers Department of Public Works. One capital project that Nolan points out to is the Sprain Ridge Park Pool. It is an honor to announce that I was able to obtain in this year's 2023 budget funding to replace the Sprain Ridge Park Pool building. This is one of my accomplishments in my first term, which I am proud of because as a kid, this is where I would go to, the pool with friends and family. Since I was elected, infrastructure has been a priority of mine, especially because it was ignored by the previous representatives. Fixing a building that was originally built in 1970s was no longer the answer, and I made sure that the entire building was replaced. And he goes on, if you'd like to read that article there on the New Yonkers Times. What do you think about Nolan? He is a hardworking guy. I do give him that. He is out there. He was walking a lot during his first election, knocking on a lot of doors. The guy really wants it. He gets a lot of flack, though. He does. I hear a lot of criticism of Nolan, and I get it. And, one of the things is, you're never going to make everybody happy, right? So you're going to get some criticism. You're going to get people that say you do a good job. If you're doing a good job, if you're doing a totally crappy job, no one will ever say that, right? But Nolan is out there, and he does go against the party, and he go against the status quo. One of the times he did that was with the zoning changes that they wanted to implement in the single-family zoning areas, right? They wanted to change that to allow buildings to be right next to a single-family home. And that's not okay. He fought hard. He went against the grain because that's something that developers want. They want to be able to build wherever they can build. Wherever they find a piece of land, they want to put a building. So, I appreciate him for that. Some people, though, are upset with some of the things that have happened. His transition from one job to the other. He works at the Yonkers DPW, but he is a hard worker, man. He is out there. He does take pictures. We got to give some credits and we got to give encouragement. And if there is some work that he needs to do, then let's, say it, but let's also acknowledge some of the good things that these individuals do, as well. And it's important. So I don't know, you guys, that's up to you. I definitely do think that we need more Republican representation on the board of legislators. I mean, if he's the only one, we need balance. We look at the world, or the entire country, I should say, and we see how much, has changed because of a Democratic rule, right? Democratic cities all over the country. Listen, I'm a Democrat, but I'm going to call it out. They're not doing too well. Look at the migrant issue that we have in New York City and in Chicago. It's all over the place, right? So many people, Democrats of all colors are, running to the Republicans now. They're wearing the red hats. He doesn't speak up on city issues since he got a city job. And that's fair. So, and specifically what issues, and let's talk about it. What issues has James Nolan not spoken up on? I know there were some issues, some people had, a little problem with him not mentioning anything in regards to, the CJ Hackett incident. They felt that, there weren't any elected officials at all that were, coming in support of the family and speaking up on this, making sure that there were no potential cover-ups and things like that. I know there was, that stuff. Ruth Walters doesn't have a chance. Nolan has really, pretty much established himself. Nolan does get support of, the established, officials, the rhinos, right, as they call them, or the career politicians, right, the how do you call him? So he has a lot of support there. He has a lot of support in the community, right? He does. He has a lot. His family's big. You know, his brother's a police officer. He's got another brother that works in DPW. You know, the Nolan family is very well known. You know, shout out to Donna Nolan. I saw her at Sprain Ridge. You look at that. Not too long ago over the summertime. I'd said hello. You know, if there's things that, again, that needs to be done by James Nolan that he's not doing it, let's say it. And I'm sure that, you know, James Nolan, the guy's approachable, at least, you know, with me, he's always been approachable. I've always liked James Nolan. I don't want to say nothing negative, like I don't like the guy or be, you know, critical of him when from day one, I've always supported James Nolan. You know, James Nolan was one of the, you know, few people that have actually come by the daycare center, you know, and talked to me for a while. And I've, you know, whenever I see him, he always stops and talks. So, but if there's certain things that we can say, hey, you know, Legislator James Nolan, these are some things that we would like for you to address. You know, is it possible, you know, the people are, you know, are looking for this to, you know, looking for answers or looking for this to be taken care of? Let's do that. What specific issues are you referring to, Will? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it, right? And speaking of Republicans, let's check out this. Let me know, Will, and we'll discuss. Anthony Merante, you know, he's running for mayor. He's the Republican candidate for mayor of the city of Yonkers. His team put out a campaign video today criticizing Mayor Mike Spano, the incumbent, on bail reform. Let's take a look at this video here.
Mayor Mike Spano refuses to confront the reality that Albany Democrats and his friend Governor Hochul's cashless bail laws have caused crime to dramatically increase.
We'll ask the question about bail reform because we're not going to sit back. We're not going to play woe is me. We're not going to blame somebody up north.
Could it be because Governor Hochul has endorsed Mike Spano for re-election?
Yonkers police once again sounding the alarm on what they say is the correlation between an increase in crime and bail reform.
Police say there's only so much they can do and blame bail reform, where in 2019 cash bail for most misdemeanors and some nonviolent felony charges was eliminated.
It's the same people doing the same thing, knowing that there aren't going to be any real ramifications from it.
Crime has risen since the state's bail reform laws went into effect.
Shocking new body cam video released showing a man punching a police officer.
Police say that they were helping the man who threw the punch get into an ambulance. That's when he hit that officer. Let's get right out to Fox Eyes. Richard Giacobbe live in Yonkers with the very latest. Richard.
Natasha, Steve, it's been a week since 39-year-old Johnny McCrae allegedly punched that Yonkers police officer in the face, breaking his nose. And then tonight, McCrae, who is a career criminal with more than 24 convictions, is still walking these streets of Yonkers a free man. Cops say he's currently out on parole for an attempted robbery conviction.
Mr. McCrae is now free to roam his neighborhood and do what he's been doing for the last 20-something years, which is committing violent crime.
Unlike Mike Spano, Anthony Merante won't be afraid to hold Albany accountable.
Unlike Mike Spano, Anthony Merante will not be afraid to hold Albany accountable. Is that true? Do you believe that? So basically, Merante is saying that Mike Spano has not been vocal enough, not been critical enough of Kathy Hochul and people in Albany in regards to bail reform. That's why we're seeing this, increase in crime. I believe there's a lot of different reasons why we're seeing this increase in crime. But he's saying, people just committing a crime, being released without having to post bail, such as the individual who punched a Yonkers police officer in the nose, breaking his nose as he was trying to help the guy, right, is a perfect example of how bail reform has failed. And still, he says the administration has said nothing to Kathy Hochul. The mayor has actually, though, had been somewhat vocal on bail reform. He's actually been critical of it. And at one point, he also got criticized for calling out Bowman. But he has mentioned this before. Is he not being critical enough? Is it just bail reform, though? Yonkers Police Commissioner Mueller, and this is from February 18, 2022, Mayor Mike Spano asked for changes to bail reform and raise the age legislation. Several Yonkers elected officials, including Mayor Mike Spano and members of law enforcement, including Yonkers Police Commissioner John Mueller, have asked for changes to the criminal justice reform and bail reform laws in New York State. Specifically, they are asking for modification to bail reform and raise the age legislation. Yonkers police commissioner, former police commissioner John Mueller said in Yonkers, bail reform is affecting property crime, car break-ins, and shoplifting. So here, Mayor Spano is standing next to John Mueller. He's saying, you know, we need change in bail reform. We need change in bail reform. So he's saying it, right? So I'm not trying to defend Mayor Spano. You just defended Mayor. You just defended him. No, I'm not. I'm just saying he has called it out. I got to point that out. There are other articles actually that I posted up where, again, the mayor was calling out bail reform. I agree. We need to do something about bail reform. But at this point, I think it's beyond bail reform. At this point, I think it's just that we're getting too many people from outside of the city of Yonkers. Not that everyone coming into the city of Yonkers is a criminal, but when we increase our population at a rapid pace, we're going to see an increase in crime. We're seeing an increase in homelessness. So we're going to see an increase in shoplifting, right? I mean, you know, it's just a statistic. Homeless people, you're going to have a portion of them that are going to go shoplift for the things that they need or want, right? Things that they can use to sell for drugs, right? You're getting individuals from the city, a lot of great people moving in here, but you're also getting some people that moving in here that may not be so great, right? They may have friends, they may have relatives that come in that may not be so great. And folks, let me tell you, watch out in your neighborhoods. Make sure you lock your car doors, even if your car is in the garage. All right, because I spotted some guy sitting out in front, you know what I'm saying, for an hour and a half, idling, 2 people, couldn't see the inside, dark tints. But I don't think they were looking to do something physical, anything to me. I think they were scoping out the area, possibly even my other car, you know, so I got to be careful. They don't try to steal my car. You know, car thefts are up. We've been seeing car chases in Yonkers. They are resulting from car thefts at times. People coming into Yonkers with a stolen vehicle. Right. So lock your doors. Make sure you lock your home doors. You lock your windows. Doesn't matter where you live. It's just the way it is nowadays. That's how we, you know, but it's not just bail reform. It's the fact that we're having a lot of people coming into the city of Yonkers from everywhere, not just the city. Let's be fair. We see people coming in from Pennsylvania, people coming from Connecticut. I see Vermont playing, New Hampshire's. Where are all these people coming from, or why are these people coming into the city of Yonkers? I'm not sure. But they're causing a lot of problems. You can tell by the way they drive, by the way they look, they act, you know. They're definitely not from Yonkers. But again, I don't want to generalize and say all people are bad, but that's going to bring crime. Naturally, that's going to bring crime. People are going to say, okay, I got relatives up there. I was up there visiting their house one day. They live in a certain neighborhood. Yo, we're going to go back up there and rob them. I'm just being honest how things work. That's just how things work. Some people think like that. I've heard this before many times, you know. You're going to check, you know, my cousin's up there, nice neighborhood. Yo, let's go back and, you know, get some Cadillac converters or break into some homes or something. So just watch your neighborhood. That's all I'm saying. It's very real like that. And again, I'm not all colors. Okay. All colors. I'm not saying any specific group. I'm just saying these are things that happen. So we're inviting a bunch of people here, right, with these new developments. So what is it bringing? Can our infrastructure handle it to begin with? Not really. But we're going to do it anyway. We're going to jam up the street with a bunch of cars and construction traffic, right? And we're going to increase our crime, increase the, you know, the cost of living. The rents are going up, and reduce the availability of housing. That's what's happening. That's really all that's happening here, folks. It's a lot of mess. You see a lot of New York City cars, cabs, I should say, cabs here. You can tell by the plates that they're from New York City. A lot more scooters. And speaking of scooters and cabs and crowdedness and
look at this.
Housing issues.
This is nice.
The migrant problem is
this looks
getting
like,
very serious in the city of Yonkers.
And we're right outside the elementary.
In the city of New York, I should say.
I went to that school.
Why can I not stop that video? Sorry, folks. I was trying to stop the video.
I went there.
This is Queens here. They have a tent facility in Queens. A lot of the residents in Queens are fed up. A lot of the residents in the city of New York are fed up. They're of all colors. And I'm concerned that as more and more migrants are bused to the city, New York City, that is, that we're going to get spillage. We're going to get a residual effects of this. I mean, it's only going to, you know, it's only inevitable, right? I mean, they can only hold so many people. So far, they've seen 110,000 migrants coming into New York City. 19,000 migrant children have entered the New York City public schools. What impact is that having?
Speak English. English. Look at this. Look at this. This is nice. Is this nice right here?
Residents
looks
show
like- I mean, you
trash,
gotta be kidding.
motorbikes, and
We're right
migrants
outside the
hanging
elementary school.
outside of
This is
elementary
come
schools.
on. This is
the playground right behind you, right?
This is look at this. Yeah. Look at this. This is my daughter goes to school here. Yeah. It's a fucking sad shit show. The meaning is what is this? This is what we live in now? This is acceptable? Look at this. Look at this. Nothing. I mean, this is
The quality of life, and that's impacting everybody, right? All our quality of life, folks, right? I mean, look at the traffic, look at the chaos, the mayhem in the streets now, trying to get from one point to another point in the city, the big buildings, the construction. It's causing a quality of life issue for all of us. More and more homeless people in Yonkers, all over the city. It doesn't matter if you're on the northwest side or on the southwest side. Homelessness is a huge problem. And we're seeing it all over. And that's the quality of life issues for all of us. What are officials doing? We don't hear much about it from them, right? We don't hear them speaking on it much. I want to show some more videos really quick. In Chicago, check this out. This is a border.
And these mass
patrol
releases
agent.
also taking place in Pakistan. And keep in mind, these buses are not from Texas. They're not Greg Abbott's buses. These are the Biden administration's buses. This is Border Patrol mass releasing people. You can see handfuls of them are standing around not knowing where they are, what to do, where to go next. And there was a remarkable exchange between one migrant and a Border Patrol agent as he asked the agent, "Hey, am I okay to travel to Chicago?" And the agent says, "Yep, you're good to go." Take a listen.
You're free to go all anywhere you want. You're free to. Okay, it's no problem if I go to Chicago. Anywhere you want. You're free to.
Wow. You're free to go wherever you want. The U.S. Border Patrol, the United States Border Patrol is bringing migrants by the busloads into this country, some city in the USA, opening the doors and letting them go and saying you're free to go wherever you want. That particular individual says, "Can I go to Chicago?" The border agent says, "You're free to go wherever you want." He's headed to Chicago. Currently in Chicago, migrants are living in police stations. Migrants are living in the Chicago police stations. Police officers are upset, fed up, recording this and putting it online, showing migrants, kids, women sleeping on the floor of the police station. And guess what? The migrants upset and causing problems because they're saying that the police officers are getting mad at them and mistreating them and moving their stuff. This is causing tensions between the migrants and the police officers. So this had me thinking, could this happen everywhere? Migrants are getting fed up because the conditions that they're having to live in, the residents of the city of New York, Chicago, and other places are getting fed up because the quality of life is being disrupted. Crime is going up in their neighborhoods. People are sleeping on the floor all over their neighborhoods. People are just hanging out in their parks. Scooters all over the place. That's a powder keg waiting to happen. And I'm wondering, is this purposely being done? Many of these migrants that are coming in are grown men. Are they bringing in people to cause some kind of civil, disobedience, some civil riot, civil war up in this country? The migrants have no loyalty to America. They don't care about the laws here of this country. I'm not saying all, but a lot of them don't. That's just the reality of it. What about Americans? It's not fair to destroy the quality of life of the American people so we can try and help individuals that we don't even know what they need help with in the first place. Why are they all coming here to begin with? What's the issue? What are they seeking asylum from? Does anybody know? And is America the only place? Actually not. Many migrants are going to a lot of the, first world nations, as you say, like Italy and Great Britain, France. It seems like there's an agenda to destroy these specific countries. Canada. Countries that are led by individuals who have gone through or have a relationship with the World Economic Forum. and Klaus Schwab, people like Trudeau. Angela Merkel was very close with them as well. King Charles. These people want a great reset. They want to make one world. This is not a conspiracy theory. This is a fact. So they're going to introduce a bunch of individuals from all over the world into certain countries to mix it up, where we no longer have our own sovereignty. We're no longer one culture. No longer hamburgers and hot dogs and baseball and footballs on Sunday. It's going to be a bunch of different things. We're going to have a bunch of different heritage months, bunch of different holidays. We're not even going to be able to keep track anymore. We don't know how to be politically correct all the time now. And this is just a purpose, intentional destruction of this country. And I'm not a racist. It doesn't make any sense. I want to play this last video before I get up out of here. This right here is unbelievable. Increasing costs. Who's going to pay for it?
I have actually gone up to strangers.
The American people, the taxpayers. Do you know how much it costs to house someone or stay in a hotel for months on end?
Budget cuts as the city struggles with the cost of the migrant strike crisis.
So the mayor says the city is projected to spend $5 billion in this current fiscal year. And he's asking city agencies right now to start reducing spending with the help of increasing costs to care for the asylum seekers. Joining us now to discuss all of this is City Controller Brad Lander. Nice to have you back.
Listen to this interview. This is unbelievable. Listen to this comptroller. I can't believe some of the things he was saying.
On good day.
Great to be on with you.
I know that you know how to crunch the numbers, and you know money doesn't grow on trees, right? But you're saying not to scapegoat the migrants. What do you mean by that?
Absolutely. Look, we do need a long-term savings plan. Gaps grow over $10 billion in the out years. And we've been spending more money on a lot of different things. We gave a much-needed raise to city workers. That added $17 billion to the budget. We used that COVID crisis money to expand summer programs for kids and 3K. Great, but now that money is ending. We're spending more on claims against the city for special education or for traffic crashes. So less than half of the gap we're facing is as a result of asylum seekers. And when you scapegoat, when you say that's why your library is going to be closed or your trash collection is going to be cut, then people do things like blare music outside that hotel, like you just reported. Like, that's not our city. Our city is a city of Italian immigrants and Mexican immigrants and Jewish
they came
immigrants.
In a different way, and they were not given. They were not given hotels. You know, cell phones, free food.
You know what these folks want is to be able to work. So let's get them work authorizations.
Right, but apparently we're getting more than we planned for, right? I mean, we are a city that welcomes immigrants.
I guess so, but at the height of Ellis Island, we were getting 5,000 a day. That's 10 times as many immigrants as we're getting right now. And they didn't destroy the city, they built the city.
Of course they did, but like I said, they were not getting free things.
Well, look, I think what we got to do is accelerate helping people file their asylum applications so they can get work authorizations. The city actually opened a new asylum application center that's getting work authorizations for people. Because, yes, we can't afford to have people in shelter indefinitely. The good news is they don't want to be in shelter indefinitely. They want to become the nurses and daycare workers and home care workers and restaurateurs of tomorrow. So that's what I think we should focus on. We have the time. This is a serious budget challenge, but it's not destroying the city. It's not a crisis today.
It's not a crisis?
Look, what I think it is a...
it's not a crisis.
It's a
we're like
serious
billions of
budget
dollars.
challenge.
Right.
This year, we're not actually.
Next year,
and
we
the
have,
year after.
Right,
so
$5
that's
to
a
$8
budget
billion.
challenge.
And the Citizen Budget Commission, which you know about.
So he says it's not a crisis. It is a crisis. And we have a lot of crises here in the state of New York. One of them, a housing crisis. So he's saying they don't want to live in the hotels either. They want to go to work. That's why we're rushing the asylum process to get them out and get them working papers. Work where? Work where? Jobs are being eliminated by automation and technology, especially low-skilled jobs, the jobs that these individuals would be seeking, because a lot of them, not all, but a lot of them are not going to have any education or higher education, any work experience, any real skills. Like, they don't speak the language. There's so many challenges that they have before them that they're going to, take forever to get a job that's actually going to pay them a living wage. Where in New York City are they going to be able to afford to live? What job are they going to get once they get their working papers that's going to pay them enough to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 a month in rent? What job? There's a housing crisis, an affordable housing crisis. The people here in America can't find housing. There are people that are Americans already living on the street. Where are they going to live? People are not working. They don't have jobs that are paying living wages. That's why people are leaving New York. Where are they going to work? Where are they going to live? You know what it's going to do? It's going to create a high demand, right? It's going to be a high demand for housing. When that happens, you're going to see rents go even higher. And now if the federal government implements a plan where they're going to be giving billions of dollars in order for the migrants to find a house to live in or an apartment to live in, guess what? Landlords are going to jack up rents. They know that the government is paying for it. And that's going to cause everyone else problems. It's going to be even harder to find a place to live. And this is what I've always said. Mass immigration like this impacts the poor, primarily Black and Hispanics, sure, poor whites. But in poor neighborhoods, at least here in the city of Yonkers, New York City, majority of people living them are Hispanic and Blacks. So we are the ones, the Latinos, the Blacks, that are going to be affected even more. Migrant children who are having to be enrolled in schools are going to go to public schools, where it's largely Black and Latino students. Just naturally, the quality of the education is going to go down even further as resources are stretched even more, spread out thinner even more. Don't be confused to those who support and say, oh, everyone needs opportunity. But what opportunity are you really giving them? What opportunity are you giving to the kids who are American here in the public school who already are lacking opportunities? It doesn't make sense. And if you are someone that supports all of this bum rush of migration coming into the city, then you're not a person that can manage a business, manage something, because you would collapse it. Right? Anyone who's managed a business, who was a manager at a place and managed employees or built things, created an infrastructure, created structure, knows that this is a recipe for disaster. Too many people, not enough places to live, not enough space, not enough money, not enough resources. What does that mean? That means that we are going to have even harder times ahead of us. So brace yourself, folks. It's only going to get worse. I'm Freddie Vasquez, Basement Politics Unfiltered. James Nolan doesn't speak on the corruption in City Hall, but who does besides Freddie Vasquez in Basement Politics, right, Will? The overdevelopment in our city, he don't chime in. And you're right, because he is saying, listen, I don't want single family homes to communities to be destroyed by allowing buildings to be bought, by changing zoning laws in these areas. So you should also see what's happening with all the development and how that's destroying, a lot of areas in the Northwest side where it's more residential, right? And you have to speak up. And I guess that's not his area of representation. I guess, who should be speaking up there? It should have been Chris Johnson, but now it should be Shanae Williams. Will we hear anything from her? Probably not. Sometimes we need our legislators to speak up for us when our city officials are going against what the people want. I agree. I definitely agree. 1,000%. No word from our county legislators about the homeless issue. Absolutely. It is impacting all over the city now. So I'm sure if you are a legislator that represents a part of the city of Yonkers, then you have a homelessness problem in your district. Please do not blame agents. It's the politicians. They break laws every day and own the judges, only civilians. Yeah, but that's the same as, and listen, I get it. But at some point we have to stand up and say, no, this is unacceptable. And it's the same thing as saying, well, I'm not going to say that, I'm going to be quiet and go along with it because I have to make money. So I have to take money, right? It's like in Nazi Germany, right? you know, the people that said, oh, well, I was just only following orders, you know, to put the people into the gas chambers. I was just a soldier following orders, right? We can't do that anymore, you know, because we now should know better that our elected officials are going to let us down. It's almost a guarantee. So at that point, when we know that, ignorance is no longer bliss, and now the ownership is on us. It's in the Declaration, or I should say the Bill of Rights, right? We have to tear down this tyrannical government and rebuild a new one. That is our right. And so we have to now take responsibility, because if we just say, well, you know, it's the politicians, they have to, they're not, it's done. It's done. It's done. You know, when you stand up to get the building department to your house, police says, well, yeah, you get that. Yeah, I know that. But then what? Then you just don't say nothing, because I know I've done that and I've gotten attacked, and I'm still, you know, talking my stuff, you know, but, you know, you have to take, you know, you're going to get scarred up. You're going to have wounds, you know, and I'm sure that, you know, when they fought the revolution, you know, the Revolutionary War here in America, you know, there was consequences, right? They could have lost, they could have, you know, been caught. Those that weren't, because there was some that were caught, hung, right? You know, by the monarch, by the British, you know what I mean? Killed, their property burned down, their property taken from them. And it was many, you know, had their land taken, had their land burnt down, right? So that was the price they paid in order to have freedom. I'm Freddie Vasquez, based in politics. I'm Phil. To have a beautiful rest of the day, folks. Stay dry. We do not stand up and fight for that freedom and are willing to risk it all.